Okay, so we're into the second week of the build now, and I'm starting to make the boat homely. Iron brew shelf. Hello there. So day 8. Now I got a new wet and dry vac. That was about 45 litres of water I pulled out of the bilge. And I got myself a fire extinguisher. When the boat's fully loaded it will need 3, but for now, just in case anything goes pop, I feel safer with having a fire extinguisher. And just a little note here, this isn't all fires fire extinguisher, not a dry powder one. I can't understand why people would use a dry powder in the confined space of a boat. It's meant to suffocate things. Nah, not in a boat. And an all fires extinguisher will put out lithium battery fires. So, you know, if your phone goes up in flames or your batteries or whatever, this will put it out. First job of the day, let's trim all the spray foam that I put on yesterday. Get it all nice and neat. You don't need to see that though. So that's been a wee while, and all the spray foam that I put on has all been trimmed back nice and level to everything. So the next job is to get the masking tape off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut like a 10mm gap round there in the spray foam, not to change the integrity of the spray foam, but partly to get the tape off, and partly when the window liners go in, that's already cut out. It's just saving me a bit of hassle later on. I'm having a day off today because I'm knackered. Well, apart from painting tongue and groove. So I thought I'd show a little picture of a cat, because cats on the internet increase your viewing figures. So we've got a number of jobs today. Job number 1 is finish off taking the masking tape off the portholes. It just got dark the other day. We're going to do that, and then we'll go on to the big ticket items. And I'm happy to report there's no water inside the boat. There's no condensation. What we thought was a leak was just definitely condensation now that I've insulated around the windows. So much happier. Big ticket item stuff now. Okay, so for those that know, if you've been watching the tongue and groove saga, we changed our mind about lining out below the gunnels. So below the gunnels is this bit, that's the gunnels. It's a bit outside where you walk on and then down there. You probably know that already. So we were originally going to have just sheet ply. So the lining has been set out, the battening has been set out for sheet ply. So 8x4 sheet of plywood, bang, 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 screws, job's a good one. But we're going to put tongue and groove in. So I brought some we'll be working on. If I put that on, if I put 2 screws in there, there's a little bit of stability there, but there's no stability at the bottom. So we need to put some battening along the bottom for the T&G to screw into. However, that's an extra inch of space taken either side of the boat. That extra inch could be quite crucial. You know, hanging radiators, and they'll, instead of being under the gunnels, they'll stick out from the gunnels. An extra inch at the dinette would be quite interesting. Same with the kitchen. So what I'm going to try and do is cut out a bit of the batten and put a new one in. So plan is to cut out about 70mm up, because that allows us room for the floor to move, and I will fit more battening in there, and that's going to take me a little while, so let's get started with that. So I've been through the height that I want all along the boat, and there are no screws that I need to take out. So I made some blocks with the height that I want, nice and square. And I'll just mark where I'm going to cut. Kind of easy stuff, really. Except when you got a dollop of spray foam right where you need it to be. So, that's that. Let's go cut. Right, that's one done. And another 44 to go. Lovely. That's nice and square. Nice and neat. A bit of spray foam trimming needed. That didn't take very long at all. I'll just do the starboard side because I've got all the other stuff on that side at the moment. There we are. Standard bit of 2x1. Sorry for the LED flashing light, it's just the way it is. And I'll stretch them out. Interestingly though, to get round the swim, so the swim is a bit where the water gets forced underneath the boat towards the rudder. So obviously that isn't straight, it curves in, so I'll need to do a kerf. So I'll need to cut some grooves in here so that I can bend that wood a bit. So that 2x1 is going to get glued and screwed. That's kind of why I've been waiting for the temperature to come up a bit, because it was so cold the glue wouldn't have set. So bit of glue, and I don't know if you can see those. These are self-drilling screws. So the theory is that you don't need to drill any pilot holes. These will just drill through the steel, through the wood and through the steel. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, eh? I might have to end up drilling some pilot holes and then putting these in. So, if you want to know what a kerf is, it's basically a series of cuts in the wood to allow it to bend. So if I now push that against the rib, that bends very, very nicely round the wood. And that's perfect. Now you don't want to go too deep. I went just about halfway, a couple of bits over halfway, and a widened one just to give it a bit of room. So I'll drop some glue in there just to add some strength back in. Same there. And it bent nicely. Okay, let's see if these screws work. Well, that doesn't work, so I'll now drill. Oh, come on. Well, there's a bit of a faff. It's in, had to drill the hole in the steel in the end, those screws, and they push the wood out, so they make the hole bigger as you're trying to get the screw in. But I'll persevere, keep going. Right, that's one batting in. It's a bit of a faff, I have to confess. That's been worrying me a little bit, you know. Drilling holes for screws in the bottom of the boat, even though that is on a rib, it's just been worrying me. I guess it worries everybody who's doing these kind of self-fit outs for the very first time is, oh my goodness, what if? Well, I'm in the middle of fixing the second batten. A couple of annoying things I'll show you in a sec. But the light's going, it's getting cold, the temperature's dropped, so I think I better tidy up a wee bit and call it quits for the day. The annoying things, the 3 metre bits of wood are just tiny bit too short. So I'm going to have to cut at the previous noggin. Yeah, that's a wee bit expensive.
Hello there, we're back at the boat again to do a bit more work and a bit more tidying up and a bit more battening.
Okay, that's another batten done. Apart from being on your knees, it's all right. Once I learned the technique from yesterday, So it's just drill, screw, glue, drill, glue, screw. Keep going. Well, there's another one done. I've realised that those screws go in better with an impact driver if you're just careful, because I've already broken 2 drill bits. Mostly because I've got the angle wrong on the drill, but it's generally going in okay. But I'm using an impact driver, those self-drill screws, if you're careful and slow, they're all right. That way it doesn't go through all the wood. So round here, time for another kerf. So I'm gonna have to cut the wood into slots and make it bend round there.
Today, it's been my job to help insulate the doors and the hatches.
So managed to get around that bend. The bend is really tight and there's nothing to grip onto, so in the end I ended up having to just cut it into segments and making it straight across. It does stick out a little bit, but it's the dead part of the boat. That's where the water tank is going to be, so it's not going to be a particular issue. And you may have seen me use a couple of clamps doing that. They're not actually clamps, they're lifting clamps. So they lift. They're really handy for just lifting things up, like kitchen cupboards or washing machines or battens when you want them to hold them to a particular height. I cannot remember where I got them. I cannot remember what they're called. And they're just lifting clamps and they're great. So next job is marking out where the cross battens are going to be, the noggins for radiators and TV. So end of another kind of productive day. We've got the battening done. That's it. So I've got the top battenings to do for the radiators.
Yeah, did a bit of spray foaming, thermal lining. Yeah.
And that'll be it ready for its first fix on the starboard side. For the next couple of days I'll do the port side battening, but that should be a bit easier. It's a lot less of it. Yeah. There's no radiators or anything going on the port side.
So it should just be
it's just one stretch of batten and we're done.
A good run at it. Okay.
Yeah, we're getting into the swing of it.
We are indeed.
Right, I brought my chop saw and it's time to go and fit some noggins. I'm just popping them on with 75mm long wood screws. Right, that's one done, and it's only there just to hold the radiator bracket. It's only going to be 14mm tongue and groove on there, so you know it's not very thick. Radiators are heavy. Give it a bracket, can't do any harm. And just like that, we've got some noggins. The radiator bracket will sit there. And it'll sit there, so it just gives it a bit of strength. So, like that. Just a bit of, actually, could do with a drop back. But the observant of you will notice that I've gone ahead and put these bottom battens in. But really I didn't need to, because I've got these battens here for the radiator. And I could have used them, and you're absolutely right. But there's only going to be 3 of those noggins on the starboard side, because there's only going to be 3 radiators. Unfortunately, one of them spans 2 joists, so I'm going to have to put an extra bit in. But let's crack on. So, coffee time, and then we'll do the next 2. And then I'll shift the whole lot over to the other side. Everything's moved, so I'm now going to do what I did on the starboard side, on the port side. I'm going to use my block, I'm going to measure against the battens, cut it off and get an extra batten on. So that's another job complete. It took me about half an hour to cut all of those bits out. I think it was quicker than yesterday, just because I've done it before now and I've got a bit more confidence with it. So I'm now going to lay out all the battens. Once I give my knees a rest, that's pretty painful on an old man's knees. Okay, that's the batten in. Got one more wee bit to do, but I'm getting tired and it's getting late, and I've got painting of tongue and groove to do. Wee-wee. So we are coming to the end of the second week. My target this week was to get the battening done and all the kind of minor little things sorted. I've got all the battening done, got all the minor little things sorted. So I met my target and I'm very happy. So next week I'm going to start work on prepping for the first fit of the electrics, so cable trays and so forth. So if you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, leave a comment if you think we're doing okay. That's always nice. And we'll see you next time.